In this video, you're going to learn how you can get started with mental training. Hey there, I'm Eli Straw, mental performance coach and the founder of SuccessStartsWithin.com. Now before I get into the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're an athlete looking to improve your mental game. I put out new videos each day on sports psychology and mental training. Now mental training is a way for you to build positive mental skills as an athlete. The reason that mental training is so important is because you need to have high-level mental skills paired with your high-level physical skills to truly reach your full potential. Now there are two approaches that you can take to getting started with mental training. You can either go at it alone or you can work with a mental coach. And we're going to talk about each of them. So let's begin with some tips if you want to use mental training on your own. Tip number one is to take a personal inventory. Whenever I work with an athlete, the first thing that I do is I have them complete an assessment. This helps me get a really good idea of their mindset. You can take a similar approach for yourself. What you want to do is take a personal inventory of your current strengths and your current challenges. These are going to be in terms of your mindset. So you might say that my strengths are focus and motivation, but I have some weaknesses and some challenges with my confidence and maybe some performance anxiety. I encourage you to get very, very detailed with this evaluation, because the more detailed you can be, then the more targeted that you can be with the actual mental training tools and techniques that you use. Tip number two is you want to create a routine for yourself. So think about mental training in the same way that you do with your physical training. If you want to improve a mechanic, or you want to get stronger, or you want to get faster, do you just train once a week? No, you train on a consistent basis. The same thing needs to happen in terms of your mindset. To really improve your mindset and to build positive mental skills, you want to make use of mental training on a consistent basis. And the best way to make use of mental training on a consistent basis is by creating a routine for yourself. This is going to be your mental training routine. As an athlete, I encourage you to create a mental training routine for yourself either in the morning or at night, because I find that those are the best times where you're going to have some private time, right? Some time alone where you're not going to be disturbed, where you can really start focusing on these mental training tools and techniques. Tip number three is you want to focus on proactively building mental skills. In the same way that you work on proactively building physical skills, you want to think about, how can I proactively build my confidence? How can I proactively build my focus? The cool thing about approaching mental training from a proactive standpoint is that you are still going to be able to overcome any challenges that you may face. Whenever I'm working with an athlete, and let's say that they're dealing with some fear of failure, we talk about why they're dealing with that fear of failure. We identify maybe the cause of the fear of failure, but the main way that I see them have success in overcoming the fear of failure is by focusing on building positive mental skills. And when they build and develop those positive mental skills, that's where we see the fear of failure being reduced. So even if you are trying to overcome certain challenges, I encourage you to go about doing so in a proactive way where you are proactively trying to build positive mental skills. And tip number four is you want to keep it simple. The simpler you can make mental training, the more impact it's going to have. And also, the more likely you are to actually apply it during games. So let's say that you've come up with a self-talk routine for yourself. Maybe you don't need to come up with 20 different statements. Maybe you just need to come up with 4 very powerful statements for yourself. Because 4 statements are a lot easier for you to remember going into a game than 20 statements. So whenever I say keep it simple in terms of mental training, I mean that you want to keep it simple in that you don't want to choose too many different mental training tools to use. But also when you do choose those tools, you don't want to overcomplicate them. Make them very simple. Keep it simple for yourself. That's going to make them easier to actually apply. Now, what are the mental training tools that you can use if you want to use mental training on your own? Well, there are 4 main ones that you want to focus on. They're going to be mental imagery, self-talk, mindfulness, and performance objectives. And what I've done is in the description below, I put links to different videos that I've made on each one that will go into more depth to really teach you how to use that tool. Now, the second approach to making use of mental training as an athlete is working with a mental coach. Now, when you work with a mental coach, the process is going to be very similar to when you go out doing it alone, where we are going to first take a personal inventory, like I said, where I have you complete an assessment. We are going to keep things as simple as we can for you because we want to make them be simple but effective. That's where we really find the nice balance. And then also, everything's going to be geared towards proactively building positive mental skills. Now, if you work with me as a mental coach and you complete that assessment, well then I'm going to create your custom mental game plan. And this mental game plan is going to include the top mental areas that we're going to work on and we're going to focus on building. And then each week during a 50-minute to an hour coaching call, and this is done virtually, that's where we're really going to start working through the challenges you're facing, but most importantly, beginning to proactively build positive mental skills. And then following each coaching session, I'm going to give you action steps. And these action steps are going to be exercises that you can do to take what you're learning during the coaching calls and apply it directly to your game. So if you're interested in learning more about mental coaching and seeing how you can get started, go ahead and click the link that I put in the description below. So those are the two approaches that you can take to making use of mental training. You can either do it alone or you can work with a mental coach. And either way, I encourage you to be using mental training in some form or another as an athlete, because the stronger your mindset, the better you're going to perform. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of success in all that you do. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We put out new videos each week on sports psychology and mental training. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you're interested in learning more about one-on-one mental performance coaching, head over to successstartswithin.com.